Hello, sir.
Pick up your mic.
Hello, sir. Hello, and welcome back to the Multiversal Fandom podcast.
Is that how we're doing this today?
Because I'm going to talk like vicious for the whole episode.
Oh, I hope not, because I'll get a headache.
Feel it.
Hey, everybody, we're back for another episode, and this week we are talking more Cowboy Bebop, but it is the last time we will be talking Cowboy Bebop.
Of the live action Netflix show. We will continue to talk about the real thing.
Yeah, the real version, because after watching the live action, we both might need to watch the anime again to kind of wash our eyes out from what we watched. But we're going to talk a little bit. We're not going to go in like each episode and do like episodes 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 like we did last week with 3, 4, and 5. We're just going to kind of pick some things, talk about them, and then some kind of main points from each episode, and then that. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Hawkeye, and then Dimo's playing a video game that he wants to talk about. So that's our agenda. So, how do you want to start with Bebop?
Right, so last time we left off was episode 5, correct?
Yes.
All right, so we got to talk about episode 6. First impressions, what do you think?
What was episode 6?
I actually have to refresh my memory as well.
Oh, no, it wasn't Puro.
Let me get my phone out. No, Puro was closer to the end.
Puro was 8.
Yeah.
God, the unmemorableness of this show.
Well, the fact that I can't remember should tell you everything. Episode 6. This is the episode where the Bebop needs servicing, and we have the...
Yes, okay.
We have the mechanic...
Yeah,
female mechanic that hits on Faye and inevitably sleeps with her.
Yep. I mean, what do you think? Go for it.
I mean, they took part of it, like the Bebop needing servicing, like that kind of theme where they have to stop on a planet and two of them go off. I think they got part of that from Mushroom Samba.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if the Bebop needed to be serviced. I don't think it did. I forget how that episode. That's one of my favorite episodes. Remember where they're
where
Ed gets the mushrooms.
And
she brings it back, and everybody gets high.
And they think that it's the cops come, and they think it's like the illegal ones, and they're just actual mushrooms.
Yep.
And they took them because they thought they would make a shit ton of money with them. Yeah.
Well, they also took them because they thought it was food. They were starving.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where initially I thought they got the idea for Fearless's friend from the past. Spike's friend from the past. I forget her name now. She's with the afro. She owns the bar that Gren works at.
Oh, Anne.
Yeah, the one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they got the visual premise from.
Okay.
Because you remember the woman, she was dressed in like black leather.
Yeah, she was dressed in black leather.
That's what I initially saw her in the trailer. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do Mushroom Samba, and I was disappointed because they didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, that was... I thought they were going to do Mushroom Samba too, and then, they absolutely didn't, so...
So, we had the whole thing with the AI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's something that worked, because I hated all of that.
Me too. It was like, because in the... Well, I feel like, because in the original also, you end up finding out that the AI that's, like, taking people's, like, consciousnesses or whatever, isn't it? It was a kid in a hospital bed that was like in a coma or something.
Yeah, he was misguided.
Yeah,
we'll say.
So that, and then it kind of just, it seemed like there was no identity to the. It was just because the other guy was there when Jet goes to save Spike. The other guy was there and he was like, you can't like pull him out because then he'll like fry his brains. And the guy explained that he had created the software with Radical Ed, I think he said.
Yes.
And they need to shut it down. So like the software, it just became like an AI software that had no identity to it. Although it, like, as opposed to in the anime where it was like literally a kid in a hospital bed that, took over, or his like consciousness was projected through this computer, and then he was like, similar to the show, like taking over people's bodies kind of thing.
Controlling them. Yeah, the way they executed it in the anime was very good.
Yeah, I thought it was very good too in the anime, and then this one it just seemed like a computer just whatever. It was
just
this,
it got
corrupted.
it got really
software.
repetitive because how many times did we see Spike go through the same thing?
Yeah,
where he had to
and
break through the
then
back door. He looked to his right, then he looked to his left, or whatever.
Yeah.
The opposite.
The thing would fall once he like broke out, and
Yeah.
then Julia
would
he'd
appear.
have to- He'd have to save her, but then obviously it was
This
yeah.
this episode didn't do very much for me. And to be honest with you, if we're talking like me paying attention, it was losing me at times here. Like I was looking at my phone.
Yeah.
I was, obviously like I remember the episode, but
I didn't. But now that you're talking about it, I remember it.
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was weird because they were like definitely teasing Ed. And they said because when they first are introduced to Ed in the anime, they find Ed on Earth. So they literally say you have to go to Earth because that's where the mainframe is for this.
Yeah.
To shut this down. So they go to Earth. So I'm literally expecting the whole time, where's Ed?
I kind of knew from the get-go that they weren't going to show her until the very end because I'm telling you, this screams 3 seasons to me. That's what they want to do. They want to milk it for 3 seasons. I
That's
really
fine, but I thought that we were at least going to see Ed in this because that would have at least stayed somewhat consistent.
Well, they've changed the show now. They've jumped around, and they've started in one place and they've ended on episode 5 effectively because that's where the show ends. Mm-hmm. Battle of Fallen Angels. So you can't really reason with the anime anymore.
Yeah, I know because they're literally doing.
Yeah, I've given up. I stopped keeping track of the differences after episode 4.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, you've gone off the reservation here, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's not fine at the same time.
And then they end episode 6 with they save Spike. They're back on the Bebop.
Yeah.
And that was like pretty much it, right?
The town looked really fake, didn't it to you? The Western looked really, really fake to me. Like you could tell it was a set.
Even when he first went there?
It looked like a set, man. I'm not talking about the grain that they had for the flashback, for when he was in his like.
No, I'm saying like before he went into the.
Yeah, I'm saying in general they were like maybe because my TV's really nice because you can see everything.
Well, I kind of noticed it. But this was when he was in the loop. When he first went out, like the very first time when he kicked the door in,
yeah,
and that like thing fell, whatever it was, the glass or whatever, the alley, like the back part of the alley,
reverberate or something.
Well, no, that literally looked like cardboard cutout of an alley.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that was because
fake.
he was in the loop and it was just that's how it looked
so.
for him. But like, yeah, no, it literally looked like a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that whoever set design that a D- there, just because I didn't enjoy looking at it. It looked too artificial.
Which is weird because that's like one of the things that the show has done like really well is like the sets and like the.
I would say most
design.
of it looks good. Yeah. Which is more than I can say for a lot of other.
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
Things,
not
just anime related shows in general. So episode 7, we meet Faye's mom.
Oh right.
Yeah. Julia finds out that Fearless or Spike is alive in this episode as well.
Yeah.
It's really all about Faye's past. We see a video of her from her younger self,
which we see in the anime also.
Talking to herself in the future. Yes.
Yes.
So they did keep some things sort of accurate there. I just think they ruined Faye. I'm gonna go out and say that.
Really?
Because even like in the last episode, like the surprise motherfuckers, when she with the.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this isn't John McClane.
Yeah.
Like what was his line from Die Hard?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. This isn't Die Hard.
Yeah.
She didn't say that. It doesn't make any sense what they did here.
I feel like with Faye, I still have hope for Faye because there's scenes like that where you're like, what the hell? Like that
a lot of scenes like that.
And then there's scenes like the very end with Jet where she leaves. And Jet's like sitting outside of the Bebop right after his daughter got picked up, and Faye comes out and she's like, "I'm all packed up." And she's like, "I'm leaving," and then she gives him like a hug. Like I feel like that is more like Faye because she's like this like kind of hard person with a shell, but then like she like sees Jet and Spike as family, and she like opens up to them. So I thought that was like good for Faye, but then like there's the surprise motherfucker that's just like why.
I don't think most of her character is accurate. And I mean, maybe they're trying to really like push this whole thing. She's so unsure of herself. Like maybe, I don't know. That's why maybe she's not sure of her sexuality either, because she hooked up with the girl mechanic there.
Yeah.
That's what I thought initially. I'm like, okay, they really want us to know that she really doesn't know who the heck she is. Like, down to that level either. Which I mean, I don't know. You guess you're trapped in an ice freeze for that long. You lose a lot of your previous memory.
Yeah, and she literally has amnesia. She doesn't know who she is or what, like, anything about herself, basically.
Yeah, so I understand that being the reason why they did that, or perhaps they wanted to make the character appeal to more of a present day social norm.
Yeah.
But that's not how she was in the anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was all right. I paid attention a little bit more because there was a lot more. They were calling on more information from the original anime.
And I think, they were calling out more original information, and also I think the story in that one, like with Faye, was a little bit more compelling. Her mom, and then the arms dealer that was chasing them. I thought that was more exciting than the episode 6 with just him being in a time loop. That was like more exciting. And then my favorite part of episode 7 was when Jet was dancing in the guy's shop. I told you this. It was when he was dancing in the guy's shop when he was at his daughter's recital. That was just so ridiculous.
The one thing, talking about things that they changed, we're missing the Betamax tape plot, which is one of my favorite sequences in the anime, where they have to go back into the old shopping mall, remember? And they're in the air ducts and everything.
Because the tape didn't work for them.
And they go to the VHS shop, and the guys work. That's one of my favorite parts of the series too, and it's not there. So that's one thing that we lost that I thought was really good. It's a lot of really questionable decisions here.
Wow.
That would have been a cool scene.
That was such a cool scene, because they're literally trying to find
a relic
that
from the
would
past.
work for this.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, one of the great things about that episode is it brings everybody closer, because here these two guys are that just met this girl, and they're going out. They're going out and they're looking for a VHS tape in the year 2049 or whatever, 2059.
Yeah.
In the future, where VHS tapes are gone now. Nobody buys them.
Yeah, literally. Like you can, well, yeah. Even if you find a VHS player now, it might not even work because they're all so old.
Not just that, but like, I mean, I have a box full of VHSs in a closet under my stairs, and they're there so I can show my kid whenever that is. Yeah. And then, whatever. Maybe they'll be worth something. Some VHSs are the original Aladdin.
I was going to say, the original Aladdin, wasn't that like $10K?
Big money.
Yeah.
Big money. Wrapped.
Wrapped is a lot. But, that episode was definitely a little bit more exciting than 6. That kind of, not much, but it kind of just went up on the upscale a little bit for me.
Plowing ahead here, episode 8.
Was that was the Puro?
Yeah. This and the stupid planning scene on the Bebop with the rhymes.
Oh yeah, that was
like,
just.
What am I watching here? Like, what is this? What is this crap? You know, like get this out of here.
Bars, Dimo, bars.
It's just, I get they're trying to make it more poppy, more fun, but it doesn't work. Even if you're trying to be different.
Did you like how they introduced Puro? That
I'm happy they didn't overuse it. It seemed he started, we saw him, and I was like,
yeah.
And then it sort of ended. It didn't seem like it was.
Well, they tried to like keep it similar, because when I didn't like I knew they were at the beginning. I knew Ein was gonna kind of save them because he was scared of the dogs. I don't remember that being from the anime.
I don't think so.
But then, what was in the anime, I kind of like also how they changed that, because in the anime we don't see like the flying shoes, we don't see like it's not a force field that's stopping the bullets. Like, don't they just do something to him that makes him like that, or something?
I don't remember. Out of all the episodes in the original, I didn't. Puro was on the lower end.
Regardless, like they had like the flying shoes in this, and they had like a force field, like a kinetic energy force field, I think they described it as, that stopped the bullets. And it was similar to the anime where Spike realized that he has to use knives to if he wants to kill him. And so I thought that was cool because they kept that was similar. And then like when he stabs him, it was like similar where he was like crying that like to his mom, basically, I think, that it hurts and all that. So, like, in general, I thought that, like, even though, like, in the anime, that's, like, a lower one for you, that I think stayed.
Yeah, he hit him in the leg
consistent.
with the knife, right? Yeah. I remember that now.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was, like, this one also, you could probably say is, like, a more, like, lower episode. Not that it has, like, much to compete with, but, like, it's in terms of, like, how it
This is where a lot of the magic of the anime is lost, because the beauty of Shinichiro Watanabe and the writer Keiko Nobumoto is the whole entire show is kind of a love letter to a lot of different things. One of them in this episode being Batman the Animated Series. Yeah. So you're missing a lot of that classic animation style that the city was.
I was curious because I was like curious to see how, if they do show the city, how they like show it.
I don't remember there being anything relatively.
I was paying attention because we talked about it so much on the podcast. We did the special for the anime, and I was like paying close attention to the shots that when they showed like a city, or like when they first fought him, and Faye was like trapped in the alley with Jet. Nothing. Like it was all like just shot how the TV show's been shot since the first episode.
The angles in the Batman in the Animated Series, you get a lot of these like really low angles looking up. You get a lot of these like really towering angles from above that show kind of like a building's face. There wasn't a lot of that either in this.
No.
They loved using what's called a Dutch angle here, which is it really bugs me. I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
Pull it up over here. I've been meaning to talk about this. Okay, so here's a Dutch angle. So it's where the center is sort of off axis slightly, and it's meant to kind of disorient the viewer a little bit, right? Because normally we'd be looking at him and his neck would be straight, right? But we're off to this really. It's not a canted angle; it's a Dutch angle.
Okay.
It's, in my opinion, it's meant to disorient the viewer, for whatever reason, and give a sort of a false sense, a different sense of reality. It's also, I guess, good for close-ups too, depending on what you like. But I didn't like it. It's very annoying to me. You kind of have to adjust.
Yeah, no. Now that you brought it up, I do remember that.
Especially when they overuse it a lot. Here's one of Thor.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. But no, I didn't. I didn't really have much to think about this episode.
I feel like this was just like a Vicious wants him dead, and here you go. That's the storyline for this episode. Just like a
Vicious's father was revealed as the head of the syndicate.
Oh yeah. What did you think of that?
Pointless.
Very pointless.
Especially if you're going to kill him off in 2 episodes. So I guess the whole syndicate has become now. It's gone from kind of a subplot. To the main plot, and
it's going to be the plot in season 2 for sure.
I'm not a fan of where they're going with it. I think they should have kept it kind of similar, where everyone from the syndicate dies, and it's the end of it.
That's definitely, I feel like, what we're going to get to. That's probably how it's, if it does go 3 seasons, that's probably how it's going to be like ended. But as of now, that's where we are. So that's 8, 9. What do you think of episode 9? That was the flashback episode, basically showing the relationship of Vicious.
I paid attention to the whole thing because I was curious to see what they did with it, because I read the description. It's a weird relationship that he has with Spike. It's weird because in the anime you don't get a lot of like conversation between them, and the conversation you do get is like, it's very not aggressive, but sort of low conversation, and you can tell that they both have a hatred for each other. There's no need to talk about I remember when we were best bros and we were drinking at the bar and girls were hitting on us and Julia and this and that, and they just created a lot where there didn't need to be. Where if you did that in the anime and you did all this, the show wouldn't have been as good. It's implied that they had a prior relationship.
Well, that's again what we talked about, is that like mystery of it, and like that why do they hate each other so much, and like and also the in the anime where we don't see Julia that much until the like pretty much the very end, and they like we're kind of left to put together the pieces in the flashbacks, and both of those things they have like basically addressed in that episode.
The one thing I'll say about Vicious and Julia and Spike's relationship, all three, I always felt from the beginning, and it sort of implied through the flashbacks, that Spike had a stronger relationship with Julia than Vicious did. So to me, without knowing what actually happened in the past specifically, we do see that Spike has slept with her. So we know that much. It's my assumption, and I believe this to be true, that Spike and Julia were an item, and Vicious was the one that was always jealous. As soon as that relationship between Spike and the Syndicate went south, that's when Vicious went and jumped in, and he always resented Spike for that.
Yeah, and also what was like kind of weird to me, like it felt like the relationship felt very rushed for how much, like, especially from what we know in the anime, how much they're like connected and like that bond that they share without it being ever said, really. And then in the anime too, like Spike talks about how much he loves Julia, but in that flashback episode, we see like they had a basically one night stand, and she was with Vicious, then she sleeps with Spike, and then they're like, "I love you, let's run away together." Because it seems like they met. Vicious started dating her.
Yeah.
Then everything happened where where Vicious was like, take her home, and then they sleep together, and then it's like the next day they're like, let's run away together, I love you.
To me, the one thing that I really like about the relationship between Spike and Vicious is the fact that you can tell that the animosity between them it's a really deep hatred.
Yeah.
Like it's irreparable.
Yes.
It's like, it's not when like you and your friend in middle school, like, oh, he saw you kissing Jenny.
Yeah.
Like on the cheek or whatever. And then he's like, oh, no, we're cool, whatever,
Yeah.
PlayStation. And you're fine the next day, right? You're at each other's houses or whatever. And then 10 years later, none of you remember that, right? It's nothing like that. It's the complete opposite. This is, I guarantee you, I mean, I can't guarantee you because you can have your opinion on how things went, and other people do too. In my opinion, I believe that he has been jealous of Spike's relationship with Julia from the start. Because you look at Vicious and the kind of guy he is, you look at Spike and the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
It is an anime, but in terms of how the characters are acted, Vicious is like a very depressing and like.
Well, also you could say because they're, like throughout that whole episode, we saw that Spike was like, kind of his babysitter at times. Like they're, I forget his name, but they're like the person that they.
That bald guy, right?
No, not the bald guy. The one that had like the scar eye.
Wasn't he bald?
No, he wasn't bald. He had hair. Well, him. They're the person.
Yeah, the guy was that wouldn't let them sit with him, right? He wanted to sit alone.
He was like it was like the elders, then him, and then Spike and Vicious.
What's cool is the family's kind of set up like an Italian crime family. We have the boss.
Yeah. Maybe
a consigliere, like a confidant, a capo, a captain, and then a soldier, which is where Spike and
where Vicious were, and so So he was like, Vicious, you're going to oversee this. And then he says to Spike, like, you're overseeing him overseeing this.
Yeah.
And so, like, Vicious was the guy that's you would think is in charge, but it's really like Spike's in charge. And maybe he even resented him for that. And then they literally sent Spike to kill Vicious. And he doesn't.
He couldn't bring himself to do it.
Yeah, so he goes to take care of the whole mess. And then in doing so is like when he's like, yeah, I got to leave the Syndicate and I don't want to do this anymore. And which is crazy because he even brings it up to Vicious. And so that's episode 9 is that flashback. And then episode 10 is basically, the finale, but it's episode 5 kind of for the most part.
It's interesting. Like I said about the mafia structure because the show is Japanimation. So in Japan they have the Yakuza, whereas here we have the Italian Mafia, Cosa Nostra, whatever. So the Yakuza is also built in a similar way, where you have a boss and then a lieutenant or whatever, and then your soldiers, brothers. I think they call them brothers. But the Syndicate itself, in this show, you get this. It just feels like they're a lot smaller. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know that I'm a big fan of the costume designers for the elders. I don't know that I like the way the route they went and chose with Vicious's father being the leader.
Yeah, I didn't like
and
that.
then him like passing it off to him. But it seemed to me in the anime, as much mystery as we got, you felt that the syndicate, there wasn't anywhere that they didn't have reach to. Kind of like Vader and Palpatine. The Empire, the Empire reaches all. You know.
Well, they say like you feel that too because like in the anime, like Jet talks about the syndicate and like they're like we need to keep a low profile because now we're on their radar. So it's like clearly they could be on like 6 planets away from where they originally kind of made noise, and now you're still on their radar 6 planets away because they have people like everywhere and like eyes and ears everywhere is what it felt like. It was like this like overlooking shadow, like you said, like the Empire.
Yeah, and you see the Empire in like Tatooine where they're walking around and who said Obi-Wan said you never know.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
No. There was a spy. I forget the name. What episode it was? Maybe it was episode 5. Shame on me for not knowing that. But no, I think you're right. I think the scale of the syndicate to a certain degree was sort of lowered.
Yeah.
For one reason, or maybe I don't know. Maybe it wasn't lowered. Maybe that's just how it looks, based off of how many times the syndicate was brought up in this.
Even the
overused.
Even the scene where he like. He was gonna get double crossed by Julia. I think that was in episode 8 when he was gonna get double crossed by Julia, and he switched places with the other guy that was gonna overthrow the elders with him. It was the woman. It was Vicious. It was the other guy, and he switched places with him. Yeah. And the woman ended up cutting his head off, and then Vicious went to town. That was like an okay scene. I just thought, I don't know. I was just like,
well,
whatever.
in the original,
Yeah.
the elders are actually elders. They're not old people with masks on.
Yeah.
Which I don't like that. I prefer the way they look in the original because it gives you a sense of a classic Japanese Yakuza.
Yeah.
Like they're actually elders who look like they're elders and they're not just like someone's father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you also, and we're kind of rambling here now, but
yes.
You miss the scale of the syndicate, we're missing characters here. I don't remember Lin ever being used.
Lin was not, well, in the first episode with in the very first episode when Spike was, who was the couple? What was the couple's name?
Asimov, Sorensen, and I forget they changed the name, I think.
Yeah, so Asimov when Asimov and his girlfriend were going to get the ship to get off the planet, and Spike and Jet get there and Faye's there too, I think, and then the syndicate comes, and there was the guy there that recognized Spike. And then that other person like ran away and went and told Vicious, and then he sliced his neck. I thought that was Lin.
They do have somebody named Lin, but they were killed early on.
Was it the guy I'm talking about? He got his throat slit in the first episode after he told Vicious that Spike was alive.
That is a Lin. It is not the Lin.
That's what, because I thought he said his name was Lin, so I didn't know if that was him. But then they cut his throat, so I was like, okay, that clearly. If it is him, they just killed him off.
Yeah, no, I remember the name, but I knew immediately, like, this is not...
Yeah, because he wouldn't have ratted him.
They either just took the name, or they just used...
Botched the character.
Somebody recommended, let's call him Lin.
Yeah.
Instead of adhering to the actual show. And it upsets me that they've kept Lin out of this. And now what sucks even more is you're not going to get a Jupiter Jazz.
Which is, and you're not gonna get a Gren. What was his name?
Well, they changed Gren. Gren. That's the other thing I want to talk about. Gren, I think, was more symbolic in his or her original role in the anime. I thought that was more.
Oh my god, the person at the bar was Gren.
That is Gren, yeah.
That just hit me right now.
Yeah, that's his or her name. I don't know what the denomination is. That is their name.
That's Gren.
That is Gren. Yes, that has been Gren through the show. And but I've been wanting to talk about this. They took I guess it is a minor character, but I look at Gren as a big character because that's where you get some of Vicious's backstory. You get to learn more about this person whose life was basically ruined by the government. And Gren and Lynn both kind of serve as like a second offspring to Spike because they both, in one way or another, at the end, Lynn helps Spike when he's back at the Syndicate and he's on Destroyer mode. But they both kind of embody the same principles that Spike have in leaving the Syndicate and sort of becoming this like anti-hero, not quite a villain. They both know what's wrong with the Syndicate. And Gren, from the start, was going to, if I remember correctly, was double-crossing Vicious. I don't think he was going to that meeting.
When they were going to bring him, he was going to bring him the, whatever, I forget what it was. That just, like, I'm still genuinely in shock about that was Gren. Because, like, I thought that was I thought the character, that Gren, version of Gren, whatever, I kind of liked them because they seemed like they were kind of like I don't know, kind of like a backup to Anna. And I kind of like that character. But now that you're saying that was like Gren that was in the anime, that kind of sucks. Because that literally is such an important character to like even Vicious's backstory.
They made Gren into like kind of a background, like a peanut gallery type of thing where Gren doesn't really serve a purpose other than to kind of be there and like be this person who's the head of this club or whatever. And they take Gren from Vicious's backstory, being a pillar to Vicious's backstory, to being a pillar of Julia's backstory. Yes. Because Gren was helping her out get onto Julia's as the main production, the main show at the bar. Bar. I don't like it.
Stupid. I don't like that actually.
I don't like it at all. I didn't
realize that at all.
They cut Lynn out for the most part completely, and they changed Gren completely.
And those are two very important characters. Okay, so then we have the last episode, the very end. Let's just get to the very end because that was the chunk of it. Like, backstory, they kidnapped Jet's daughter. She's pissed at Spike because Spike lied to him about not being in the Syndicate, or about being in the or he tells him, you made me believe you were a soldier or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Faye leaves. Jet ends up not handing over Spike without trying to at least get his daughter back. And then they go to the cathedral. And they're tied up at the cathedral. Faye comes, helps them. And Jet, his daughter, and Faye leave. And Spike goes back in and fights Vicious. And we get that, like, we get the scene. Like,
I didn't think it looked good at all.
I didn't like the angle. I thought maybe it was for the trailer.
Forget the angle, dude. Just the sheer like scope of the. Let me get a good shot here because of the church, and let's see if I get. No. Let me see if I get a video here. We do not own this material.
I don't know. It was.
Let me see if there's a. Let's see. We'll turn the music off here. And we could talk while it's playing. But the sheer scope of the episode itself is just something to be beholden in the anime. And we're talking about something from, over 20 years ago now. I mean, look at the cathedral. Look at how big it is. It's ominous. It's dark. It's gothic. It's got that 90s gothic theme, which was not present in any of this show, no. any of the live action show. Here's a really solid angle here, a really solid shot. A lot of this episode, every time I watch it, it gets me. It's it's beautiful. You got this like Victorian era. I mean, look at that. The one thing I wanted to talk about was the church glass. There is a specific name for this. I forget it. But the way it looks in the anime versus the way it looks in the show is completely different. It's lost its pop, its vibrance.
Yeah.
I like that there's light shining through. I like that because the church is a dark space. It's just, there's more detail. And that's another thing. We didn't get the trademark trench coat. I was pissed off.
I saw that now. Yeah, we didn't get the trench coat.
I was pissed off.
Did we? At all?
Nope. And I mean, this one coming up is probably like one of my favorites. No, not this. Wait for it. We missed it.
Yeah, no, the episode 10 did not give like the same feel as as this episode.
Wait for it.
That shot?
This shot right here.
Okay.
It was my phone wallpaper for quite a while.
Yeah.
Is amazing, I think.
No, it is a cool angle. It is a cool shot.
And we've missed so much of this. I mean, this is a scene that Faye is heavily involved in as well. And I mean, I think there's more mayhem. There's more the bonsai trees.
Did we get any bonsai trees?
I don't think so. I prefer this angle. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where is the larger, wider angle though? Because I wanted to compare it. There you go. Yeah, this right here. You did not get that scope where it's panned all the way back, and it's like you're looking at this massive sort of glass circle in the center of the.
Yeah, that's incredible.
The center of the chapel.
It's just like you can't.
This was also my phone wallpaper.
That's unbelievable how like different. Just like actually how different it turned out to be. But we got that was the same, but like we got this, and then the very end is an absolute, I think, mess and shock. Because you get this scene of Spike falling out the window, but it is now because Julia shot him, and Julia is proposing to Spike that they lead the syndicate together, and he becomes like the elder, and she's by his side, and he's like, no, like the whole point was I wanted to run away with you, and she's like, yeah, well, that's not who I am anymore, and then she shoots him. Yeah. And then she ends up kidnapping Vicious, and now leads as the elder's wife, because she says the elders don't, no one can see the elders, so I'm gonna speak on your behalf as your wife.
Yeah.
I thought that was the stupidest, absolute garbage writing. Look at this. You even get that little. He has a flashback to Julia.
Yeah, there's a lot. You get a flashback to both of them together in the syndicate.
Yeah. And
this right here is what I'm talking about. It's a subtlety. We don't need to see them.
Like we see in this scene. Is this your favorite scene from the anime? Like this part?
I can't pick a favorite scene, but it's my favorite episode. This right here is the subtlety that I'm talking about. It's implied that they were brothers.
Yeah.
Through that 3 seconds there, that's all you needed.
And in this scene where he's falling out the window, he's remembering Julia, and he's remembering like the woman he loves. And then in this show, they make it so that she's the one that shoots him. That does not feel right. So now we're just gonna get a complete. First of all, it's a completely different Julia. We're not even this Julia is nowhere near. What Julia was in the anime.
We've gotten that with a lot of characters, and as soon as they started changing,
but I feel like it's not this. I feel like this is a huge change. I feel like this is the biggest change they've made in the anime, and I feel like this is the boldest change they've made in the anime too, because now you're literally changing the trajectory of Spike and Julia's relationship.
I think Vicious is the bigger change out of anybody. And I mean, you can argue that Julia was because they put her in more than they did in the anime, but I think you're changing Vicious, and you change the original relationship with Spike. And I think that's where
that's no doubt that has changed. But like I'm literally talking about like in the anime, Julia is on the run from the Syndicate as well. Like she's on. Isn't she on Jupiter too? And she was hiding out there. And then
I think Julia was in hiding for the majority of the series.
Of this show or
of the original.
Yeah, no, well, like, I feel like she was away from the syndicate. And now in this one, they literally took her, like, you're in charge now.
Again, I detached this one from the original after, like, episode 4, like I said.
That was just, to me, like, the craziest, the craziest kind of way they could have portrayed her characters now being the syndicate.
You take all of these changes together, though, and I'm not mad anymore because it's not Cowboy Bebop, because they changed.
No, it's a completely different show.
They changed a lot. They did have a scene like this with Spike on the couch and the bandages. They're like, okay, all right, they threw that in there. That's fine. But there's too much of that minor fan service. With like, okay, we're changing all this shit.
Yeah.
So here, let's throw them a couple bones here and there.
Too. They could have literally named this something completely different. Like, completely different. Nothing.
Name it the Syndicate.
Well, no, they could have named it something that does not have to do with Cowboy Bebop at all. And done exactly what they did, and it probably would have been a much better show than what it is, because it has the name Cowboy Bebop, and everyone's like, what are they doing?
I think Netflix should change it to the Syndicate. I think that works a lot better. And you call it the Syndicate, and underneath a Cowboy Bebop story.
Yeah, that'd make more sense.
To me, this live action, and maybe this can be one of the last things we really touch upon here. To me, this live action series is kind of like what they started doing with a lot of the Star Wars books. They're calling it Star Wars, and underneath Legends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, this to me also feels a lot kind of, which you bring up a good point about, you could say that it's like Cowboy Bebop, or the Syndicate of Cowboy Bebop story. Like, that's kind of like a lot. This is something we don't talk about much. We haven't, I don't think, talked about ever on the podcast. But the show Titans on HBO Max, that show is supposed to be Titans and follow the Titans, but in season 3 especially, it has become like the biggest Bat Family story, and people are like, just call it the Bat Family, and I feel like that's something so similar to this, and that's like, I'll just say that about that. But yeah, we've definitely exceeded the time.
I think we've exhausted.
Bebop. Just give your overall rating, because it kept going down. So what do you say?
I'll give it a 6 out of 10, and that's being generous. I'm being generous because
I'll follow your lead.
I'm being generous because the music was fantastic per usual.
The visuals
Yoko Tano
overall were great.
It looked good on my TV. I'm pleased with that. Would I watch it again? Probably not. No.
Would you watch season 2?
Ask me 2 weeks before season 2 comes out.
Yeah, once we get
right
there,
now, no.
Once it gets to that point, and we'll talk about it probably again in a year or two, whenever it's supposed to come out, and we'll play it by ear.
Right now, the answer is no, but yeah, that's because
that's fair.
That's because they changed a lot, and
all right, done with that. Yep. We can wash our hands of the live action Cowboy Bebop for now. Now we have Hawkeye, the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye. And overall, I think this is I honestly think that this is as of now, could be the best MCU show.
I would say right now it is probably the best MCU show.
Like, Loki was great. Loki for me was number 1. I think my order was Loki, WandaVision, and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Loki lost me at points.
I think the overall picture of Loki was the overall like idea of Loki was better than the overall idea for Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, which is why it's my number 1.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I think entertainment wise, story wise, and like the introduction of like Kate Bishop, I think all of it is like so good. And like my favorite thing from Endgame was the Ronin story, and I was like hoping that they would do something like immediately after we watched Endgame. I was like, I wish they did more with Ronin.
Yeah.
And then they said that the show is coming out, and I think they said that they were gonna expand upon it a little bit more, and I'm so happy they're doing that, which is why I think right now this is like my number 1.
Well, Ronin is Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is Ronin.
Yep.
I really like the show. It's very entertaining.
I love Kate Bishop too. I love her.
Yeah,
she's a good character.
She's very attractive. She's a great character. A good actress.
Yeah.
She can hold the role very well.
Yeah.
And for someone who is, she's about my age, 25, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
For someone to be able to play down effectively is difficult. Usually people play up their age. You don't really play down unless you can hold it like
Tom Holland does it.
Dude, that kid looks like he's 15. I'm sorry.
He's like 24.
I'm sorry,
he's
man.
He's also your age.
He's doing the. He doesn't look 24. He looks like he's 15. He's doing Uncharted. Mark Wahlberg should be playing his character. Mark Wahlberg's playing Sully, the old guy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I know that didn't make sense to me, but I guess
initially it was his role. Now they said he took a back step because he's old. He doesn't want to do. I don't think. I don't know. BS.
That's weird. It was weird when Well, that's another. We could talk about Tom Holland and his young looks another time, but this is a good show. They're teasing in episode 3 or 2, I think, actually. So spoilers if you haven't seen it, watch it and click off the video for now, and then come back to it later if you haven't watched it. But if you have, stay. They tease, I think, Kingpin. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, they mentioned Kingpin. They were like, "There's people more dangerous than her." When talking about
even when the guy like grabbed her cheek, like her uncle.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be Kingpin. So you get Kingpin teased, and then now like you see the aftermath of everything that the Ronin caused and the kind of spill of everything that the Ronin caused, and what it means to put on that suit. Like that is like people do not like that suit.
No, everybody wants it.
Yeah,
it's a big prize.
Yeah, and then I don't know if they showed it in any of the episodes. I saw this on Instagram, but there was like a person in this like just black suit, and it had like goggles on it, and people are saying, I think that was an episode 4, like still from episode 4, and people think that might be the introduction of Yelena. So
I heard she was in this.
Yeah, so she might be coming in episode 4, and we might see like a Black Widow interaction. So I don't know if that was it. That was just like, that's like a rumor. It might be a different character. People were saying, I don't even know. I've never heard of this character. Let me look it up real quick before I say it. But there was like a lot of like, that's one of the theories of who it might be. People are saying,
I like that this is set like 5 years after Endgame, and you kind of have that in the sort of in your life.
This is 5 years after Endgame,
I believe,
or Infinity War.
Endgame, 5 years after Endgame, because he talks about because remember they asked who killed Ronin, and he says like
Black Widow. But the Ronin was like, Black Widow was alive when. So it was Endgame. I'm gonna look it up because I know WandaVision takes place like 2 weeks after.
Yeah, and Hawkeye set in New York around Christmas season. Oh, it's 1 year after Endgame.
Okay, that makes sense.
It is 4 years after Infinity War.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or 5 years after Infinity War.
That makes sense because I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure WandaVision is like 2 weeks after. Loki is like, I don't even know, because that takes place from when he was like in. Yeah,
so initially they wanted it to be 2 years, but then they said 1 year, and it's set around Christmas because you've got that sort of family.
Yeah, where he's like
thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I thought it was 5 after. Well, that makes sense that it would be 1 year after.
I was going to say 5 years. That means they're putting the timeline at like 2028.
Yeah, he'd be much older.
Yeah, he'd be way older. Endgame would take place. Endgame was 2023.
Yeah.
So it'd be like.
Yeah. We're not in the end game yet in real life.
No.
No, I think it's good. I think the second episode I thought was a little bit better than the first one. The first one ended on a good note with her up against the alley wall, and I didn't realize they had released 2 episodes up front.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that's like most of them do. Yeah. A lot of the times they do them like that back to back.
I was like, damn. I have to wait till next week, and then nice. That was a nice. Well,
it's like what they do. I think a great thing that they do is they leave the episodes on like such like a
A good cliffhanger.
Like a really good cliffhanger. They was what is the last episode 3 ends with her like mom's fiance holding the Ronin sword. So that's going to be an interesting confrontation for sure. So I'm excited.
Overall, it's a good show.
I don't know how many episodes. I'm assuming probably close to 10.
6.
6? That's it?
Yeah, we only have...
So we're halfway.
We only have 3 weeks left. So Christmas, it'll be done by Christmas. Which makes sense because we're getting Book of Boba right after. So they planned this shit out. Book of Boba is only 7 episodes.
So, yeah.
That'll take you through February.
Yeah.
End of February. So I don't know.
Which I'm assuming something's coming after that.
I don't think major.
No, not probably major, but something.
I think there's a buffer, and then I think early or late spring you'll get whatever Obi-Wan. I hope Obi-Wan.
Oh, wow. It's that soon.
I hope. Unless
awesome.
I really hope they don't push us to
I'm
next
excited,
holiday
but
season.
overall, I'm very excited to see where the show goes, and I'm very excited to see or to like talk about it as the weeks go on. Like I'm very excited.
I think I consider Renner to be probably one of the more higher profile actors. Like I think Hiddleston's up there with him.
Yeah.
But seeing him get his own TV show is cool because he's a good actor.
He is, and I think too one of the things that this show is doing that I think he was kind of overshadowed in the other Avengers movies because you have Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor, and like the Hulk, all these major superheroes, and Hawkeye's kind of like on the lower end of that. So I think them giving him his own show like really shows like how kind of important he is to the MCU. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for this. This is a 10 out of 10 so far.
10 out of 10. I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all we got on that. Really quickly before we go to the next thing, Cowboy Bebop has dropped to a 46 on Rotten Tomatoes.
What's this at? After 3 episodes?
80%.
That's pretty good.
It's very good. Oh, no, 92 tomato meter. I'm sorry. And the audience score is 80.
Wow.
But that 92 is based off of 81 reviews. The 80 is based off of 785. And by the way, if you go on to IMDb, the ratings for all the episodes kind of goes as we were talking about. Like the first 3 or 4 are kind of like this, and then
yeah, that just derails.
So
we're on track with everybody. We're like
the last episode got a 5.8. That is fucking awful.
Out of what?
A 5 out of 10.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say out of 100.
And then the show itself is 6.8 out of 10, which is what do you call it? Heresy, because the original on IMDb has an 8.9.
Yeah.
And is listed on Top TV number 34.
Wow.
So shame on you for
botching this.
All right. Yeah, so we're talking a little video games now, right?
Yeah, we haven't talked video games like in a very long time, if ever.
So I got a PS5.
Yes.
It is amazing. For all those in question, I don't know that I would go out and rush and like looking back on it now. I mean, I'm happy I have it, but it's not like an astronomical difference from the PS4 to the PS5 in terms of...
I think it helps for you too that you have the TV that's like more compatible with it. Like for me, having like a like I have a gaming monitor, but like if I were to use it for my TV only, like I have a TV that's 4K 60 hertz, and the PS5 runs 4K 120, so it wouldn't like
it's not always
be
120.
a difference. Like most games or something.
I'm a little disappointed that you can't edit the UI. Where in the the UI I feel like has been more editable in the PS3.
Oh,
the PS4 I could really only F with the theme. I forget. I felt like I had more control in PS3. Maybe I'm wrong, but I have no control in PS5. I don't have custom themes. My themes from the PS4 do not obviously carry over to the PS5.
Yeah.
So I have to stick with the basic. But I'm slowly realizing that they sort of built the PS5 UI to be more, how's the word, user-centric. So you're not spending a lot of time on the home screen.
Yeah.
Like you're jumping into a game or you're going into your friends list or something. Or you're playing music or whatever. But so far I'm really pleased with the games. And I think one of the games that I want to talk about is the Fallen Order
Yeah.
A Star Wars game.
Also, one more thing. The good thing about the PS5 now is they're definitely becoming more like available.
Oh,
like
that's for sure.
Scalpers are kind of slowing down.
I mean, I got one.
Yeah, like and I'm getting way more tweets about them on like getting releases, and there's probably gonna be a big drop around like a little closer to Christmas. So.
I would say going into New York, people will have you'll probably get one.
Yeah, you could probably find one pretty easily.
Like I'd probably say maybe summertime in stores.
Oh yeah, I think so.
But no, it looks beautiful. It plays beautiful. I have the external hard drive, so I can play PS4 games.
Yep.
If you don't have PlayStation Plus, I mean, you have to have it.
Yeah.
But you get a list of games of greatest hits.
That's cool.
God of War, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, you were telling me you have like a bunch of games like that
Fallen
you're waiting
Order.
to play because you're
I have
playing.
them in queue.
Yeah, you're playing Fallen Order right now.
But you have to put them in your list. Once they go in your list, they can never take them away from you.
That's cool.
Because they change that list every month.
Okay.
There's remember the first PS4 game, the Rockstar or whatever, or what was it? Wasn't Rockstar? It was Infamous.
Oh
it
yeah.
was even
yeah,
on
yeah.
the PS3.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, that was it's like a launch game.
That's one of
yeah,
the games.
you can get it.
Cool.
I was never a fan of that. I never played it.
Did you get it just because you could get it?
No.
Oh, you did.
Arkham Knight is a PlayStation Plus game, but I already own it. So.
Yeah.
So Jedi Fallen Order, wow, this was released in November 2019, originally on the PS4. So the PS5 upscaled it, but the game really got noticed when the PS4 Pro was being used to play this game, and they started upscaling the graphics. And it looks phenomenal on the TV.
So they did change stuff from the PS4 game to now.
It's just graphics.
Yeah.
The story's the same, and from what I understand, when it initially came out, the reviews weren't good. I believe that was because of some EA. It's an EA game. Because of some EA bugs.
You know why we're laughing?
Which
You're a gamer.
They're just like careless about shit. Like Madden is an example. They don't care about Madden
No,
because they know everyone's gonna buy
Madden.
it.
They literally in last year's Madden 21, they had like the banners from Madden 16.
Yeah.
That was probably the last time the game was like extremely good.
But I think they upgraded this game. They removed the bugs and they upscaled the graphics because let me tell you, you're looking at like a Star Destroyer like crashed on the ground and it's like I'm putting my hand out because it's like almost real.
Yeah.
Like it looks amazing. And the world building's phenomenal. The game itself, the storyline is very good. It's a campaign only.
Yeah.
There's free roam. You kind of have to follow the story, but at any point, once you unlock a world, like Dathomir is a world. That's where Darth Maul's Zabrak species is from. So you can you can go to Dathomir after the first level, but you can only complete a certain part of it because you need to upgrade yourself enough to get like a force double jump to be able to cross a path. So you can go there, and it's recommended that you do early because you can get the double blade.
Yeah.
So you can alternate between lightsabers, which
That's
I think
cool.
it's really cool.
Nice.
And it's not a game for button mashers though.
Yeah, no, like
it's
it's
a parry heavy offense. So most of the people you're fighting are like will hurt you because you don't have armor, you don't have anything on. It's just Jedi robes or whatever poncho they call it. So you need to parry. You're fighting this big like creature. I think they call it a Zodak or something like that. Big freaking alien creature. And you're not running after it. You're hiding in a corner and you're doing the somersault every time he attacks you, and then you're resetting, and then you're swinging once.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I've died so many times, and it's like a mix. I think I told you it's a mix of Arkham Knight and like Uncharted or Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. No, I bet you made like the way you're explaining it and like how it looks, how you're saying they like fix the graphics and everything. Like I definitely want to play it.
No, I mean it is phenomenal, and I mean you fight ATSTs. For the most part so far, this is your main. These are the people I've been fighting the most. These stormtroopers with these like vibro blades.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not getting that combat experience because you are most of the time. The force controls are awesome. Pull, push.
Nice.
You have this one droid on your back. BD1 is his name.
I feel like it's. I feel like a lot of the games that Like Star Wars
It's a
games,
tough
like
point.
Battlefront 2. I played that. I told you.
He's in it too.
Oh, he was in Rogue One.
He's in this. He's in the
so you said
casino.
this is in between.
In between 3 and 4, so you can play this this is replacing Force Unleashed more or less. To my knowledge, Vader is in it. Obi-Wan is in it very briefly in a video recording.
Yeah.
Because I forget how many years, but this is like relatively close to Order 66 because Order 66 is like mentioned abundantly.
Oh, okay.
And you get to hear like this planet I'm talking about, Jeffo, that I'm on right now, where there's a crashed Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
You can go into one of the rooms as kind of like not a side quest, but it's not a main.
Yeah, it's not the main mission.
It's not a main road. There's many different main roads, and then there's these side roads. But you can go into this one room, control room. You press a button, and you get to hear and see a recording of a clone trooper getting the Order 66.
Okay.
Like he's talking to someone. He's like, "Hold on, the Emperor's calling."
Okay.
And it's like, okay, well, he's calling to kill you. Yeah. But no,
interesting.
It is very good.
Yeah, no, the graphics even out here look really good.
It is very good. The one thing like I'll say is like I have the difficulty set. There's 4 settings. There's I think Master, Grandmaster, Knight, and Padawan. I have it set at Knight, which is like for people who want a challenge.
but aren't like trying to.
The people or the Grandmaster setting. I read people saying that they've been blowing their brains out because it's that difficult. But like, as it is now, it's not as easy as Arkham Knight. I'll say that. And Arkham Knight isn't an easy game either.
Yeah.
There's some parts of that game that are a little challenging.
Yeah.
But no, I would say out of 10 right now, I give it a 9 so far.
Pretty good. I definitely want to play it because you said I think it's still on sale in the PlayStation Store.
Well, I got it for $20.
Yeah.
You can get the PS4 game for less, I'm sure.
But I would probably get it on Steam because I don't want to like sacrifice the graphics.
Welcome to this family meeting.
Oh my god, that scared me. But yeah, I don't want to sacrifice the graphics for it being on like the PlayStation.
You got to do it on a big screen, man.
I can just get it on the PC.
You got to do it on a big screen.
It's big enough.
I'm telling you, it's
Ultra wide. I have a 32-inch ultra wide.
65 inches though.
Yeah, but okay, 65 inches. But you also have 4K 120. I have 4K. I have 4K 60, and a PS4.
No, I'm saying though, when you upgrade,
it's
worth. I'd say
sure.
it's this game. I think you want to play. You have a controller for your PC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I use the PS5 controller, even though I don't have a PS5.
That's funny. But no, I think it's that. I guess there's a mod where you can play as Mando.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, and he's got the black saber. That's cool. That must be. Can you do that on the PS5? You think?
Probably not.
I think it must be a PS5.
It has to be.
It must be a PC meme.
We're running on the PC, yeah.
Meme, I say mod.
It is a PC.
Yeah, there it is.
That's cool. But yeah, I recommend it. I recommend you check it out, especially a 3-year-old game is still killing it.
To be kicking this much.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, I think that's it for this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. We will see you next week.